I'm Jesse Nealand of Remodel Fitness. I just want to take a moment and thank everybody who shared and responded to the first video in this three-part series on stress and anxiety, the two things anxiety needs to survive. Thank you so much, and if you haven't seen the video yet, go back and watch it. After having struggled with and overcome the serious anxiety that was holding me back from living the life that I wanted, and helping hundreds of other women do the same, I have created an 8-week course called Remodel Stress, in which I teach people how to dive deeply into the true sources of their stress and anxiety. And next week, I will be beginning the fall 2016 enrollment for the course. But today, I just want to give you a taste of what it would look like to dive a little deeper. So today's practice is no longer about managing your anxiety. This is about restructuring your entire relationship to anxiety so that you can strip it of its power over you and reclaim your life. So first of all, let's just talk about what anxiety is. Well, anxiety feels a little different, from person to person, and it's kind of difficult to describe. Anxiety is just an emotion. Now, each of the emotions serves a specific purpose, and each shows up for a specific reason, and anxiety is no different. It has a job to do, and until you acknowledge its job and take action, it hangs around, and it causes trouble. The problem is that most people don't really understand anxiety's job. They assume anxiety only shows up to ruin things and make them feel awful, which is understandable, but it's totally not true. Anxiety's job is simply to alert you to something that needs your attention. The thing that needs your attention might have literally nothing to do with the subject of your anxiety, which can be confusing because we love linear thinking and we tend to get very wrapped up in the details of our anxiety. We think, I'm anxious about X, Y, and Z, so obviously the problem is X, Y, and Z. But more often than not, what your anxiety attaches to is less important than the fact that it's showing up at all. So in order to redefine your relationship to anxiety, you need to let go of the subject itself and let your anxiety simply serve as a big red flag telling you, hey, there is some inner work here somewhere that needs to be done. Pulling anxiety up by the roots like this is a highly individual process. However, most everyone can benefit from the practice I'm going to give you today, which is that I want you to try viewing your anxiety as a sign that there's some inner work, growth, or healing to be done. Take your anxiety as an invitation to explore and move inward rather than, solve some external problem. The next time you experience anxiety, try welcoming it and receiving its gifts without judgment. So pause, take a deep breath, release the details that the anxiety is trying to get you all caught up in. And a helpful thing with that is you can even sometimes talk directly to your anxiety, like, oh, hello there, anxiety. I see you want me to think about this project at work all night, but I'm not going to get wrapped up in that. Instead, I'm going to take your presence as a sign that there's something else going on inside me that needs my attention. And then exploring for what that is by asking yourself, what needs my attention? And another way to ask that, if that doesn't kind of guide you where you want to go, is what have I been ignoring? Because a lot of times what needs our attention is something that we have really tried hard not to give our attention to. So take some liberty with these questions and trust your intuition and be patient, because whatever comes up for you while you're exploring this is fair game. It doesn't have to be logical, and there's no right answer. But once you land on something that you think needs your attention, do the best you can to handle those things directly. Or at the very least acknowledge that they are the real issue here, not the details of the subject of your anxiety. So an example would be if I was freaking out about what to wear before a date. My anxiety might be aimed at my clothes or my body, but it's not really about the clothes or my body. And if I used anxiety as a sign to check in with myself and just see what's going on, I might discover that underneath that clothes anxiety is a deep fear that the date won't go well, that I might get rejected, or, it could spiral out. It might be just a deep sense of loneliness or a fear that I'll end up, alone forever, right? So those issues aren't easily resolvable, but they're there and they're real and they need to be dealt with. And dealing with them directly instead of dealing with the misplaced anxiety about what to wear that's going to take me down a very different and much more authentic and valuable path for myself as I explore. So in this example, if my anxiety showed up to bring my attention and awareness to some deep and painful stuff like that, then upon realizing it and going there for myself, maybe I sit down, I journal or meditate or I call a friend or whatever it is that helps me go there, well, then the anxiety about what to wear is going to disappear. And that's because anxiety's done its job. It's shown up, it's given me its gift, it's done what it needed to do, it fulfilled its purpose, it's done its job, so it just goes home. And that's how it's supposed to work. That's how anxiety is supposed to work. It's supposed to show up, do its job, and then be on its way. And the only reason that often it shows up and then just sticks around and becomes a permanent house guest is because we don't let it do its job. Often because we don't know it has a job, but now you know it has a job. So you might think that living with stress and anxiety is a life sentence. So many of the women that I've worked with tell me that they had no idea that anxiety could be used and trusted in this way, or even that there was so much rich work to be done right under the surface once they started digging. So it doesn't happen overnight, and it's not supposed to. And in my course, Remodel Stress, I offer you more in-depth information and tools to do personalized, powerful, sort of deep diving like this. This video is only skimming the surface of what's possible for you if you're open to shifting the way you approach your stress and anxiety. But it's pretty powerful on its own. So try it. Try next time it shows up, approaching it like it has a job to do, asking, say, what needs my attention or what have I been ignoring? And then tackling it head on. Allow yourself to deal with the real problem and let anxiety just have done its job, shown you something needed to be done, and then be on its way. In the third and final video in this little series, I'm going to explain the global significance and benefit of making friends with your anxiety, and why destigmatizing your stress and anxiety is the single greatest tool that exists for reducing its effect on you. So if you like this video, leave me a comment and be sure to stay tuned for the third and final video, Make Friends with Your Anxiety.